BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed a welcome to a podcast. Welcome to a podcast. This is BRB UK episode 455.
455.
455. Just 455.
Big
That's
number.
right. At DFS. I am Coleman. I'll be your host this evening, or morning, whenever you're listening in the day, really. I'm going to assume evening, because who doesn't like to sit down and kick off their shoes and listen to a nice podcast every now and then in the evening? I certainly do. Yes, I'm Coleman, filling in for Dan. As you may have guessed by my rambling there, I'm a little bit out of practice because I've been away for a few weeks, but I'm back now, baby. And a man who is also back, not that he went away, it's Tim.
We've thrust you straight into the hot seat.
Yeah, and another man who is back, and properly back, because he has been away.
Been away for a
he's
while.
A guest. He's a guest. We get him in from time to time.
Get me in when everyone else says no.
He is a man called Rick.
Hello, world. That
doing?
was far too much enthusiasm for me.
It was.
I'll tone
I
it
like
down.
the enthusiasm.
It's Coleman rubbing off on you from his hot seat.
There we go. That's better. It is. Close proximity is like COVID, but deadlier.
COVID. As we've already established. Right. Rick, while we have you on the show,
Hello.
you have a game of the review variety that you'd like to talk about.
I do.
And as that tends to be a bit of an obligation, we better talk about it.
Yeah. It's called WitchSpring3 Refine, and it's on the Switch. And it's kind of cute. So it's a little RPG with little chibi characters, the cheeky little anime people with the big heads and the little bodies.
Wait, you're playing an anime-style RPG? This doesn't sound like you at all.
It's weird that Tim offered me this review, isn't it? I don't know why. I feel like I've been pigeonholed. So you play as this little witch, this little half-witch, and she's just kind of getting on with her life. And then she's in a cave trying to beat up a pig, and she meets a dude called
Hold
Adrian.
on, you can't just go past half witch and not say what the other half of it she is.
Goose.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
Okay.
human would be the one that you'd go to.
What? Okay, fine.
Muggle.
That, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Am I allowed to get back to my review?
I mean, you can have a go.
I can get back to my review. I was going to see how long I could go through this without Coleman cutting me off with silly questions, but I think Tim beat him to it. So he plays this little half-witch, and it's kind of like an isometric top-down thing. It's got turn-based combat, and there's a nifty little thing in it where the enemies are on the field, so you can see what you're going to fight, but they've got this little ring around them, and if you run into it, you can see their stats and decide if you're going to do that fight or ignore it, which is really useful for sort of like getting around. Combat's a mix between melee and magic, and you can buff your attacks, like buff your sword attacks and stuff, and I found one where I buffed my sword with like a regen ability, so every time I hit something, I get health back. So I'm just immortal at the minute, which is
As long
great.
as you're wailing on it with your sword.
Yeah. You got these little dolls as well. The little witch lives in this house, and she's got these little dolls, and you put life energy into them and revive them. Not that, that weren't alive anyway, but you bring these dolls to life, and they act kind of like party members. So you can summon them in, and they'll buff you or attack or whatever. But I haven't really been using them because I've got that immortal sword attack on, which is cool. Leveling up's weird, and this is where I think the question's going to come. So you don't really get experience points for fights and things. You've got a calendar and a bar that goes up, and whenever you do quests, like side quests, story quests, fights, this bar fills up, and when it fills up, you can train, and you go back to your house and you choose training, and then you get to pick 5 exercises out of 8, and then you do like a week of exercises. And
This sounds like a manager game.
It reminds me of did you ever play Digimon on the PS1?
Of course I did.
I did not.
It reminds me of that, like how you train your Digimon and stuff.
Right.
But it's kind of cool because you can choose what you're gonna level up, and leveling up stuff gets you new attacks, new magic things, which is really good. Alchemy is a huge part of it because you're a witch, so obviously making potions. And as you're running around, you're collecting ingredients, and oh, here's a bush, here's a cow,
shrubbery.
Throw it in a pot, and then you.
Coleman.
I'm making it sound ridiculous, but it's actually quite good. So you go back to the witch's house again, and she's got a big cauldron, and you throw your ingredients in, and you make items, weapons, magic. You can equip 3 spells at once. You can buff your magic, and it's cute. Like it's a remaster of a mobile game.
Okay.
So it's good for just like a quick pick up and play. Like, oh, I've got 10 minutes, I'll do a bit. There's not really anything there for like a long sit down play session, because it's just kind of like, all right, well, I'm doing this, blah blah blah. It's quite grindy with the collecting items and collecting ingredients and stuff like that. But for a quick pick up and play, so it's a really good conversion to the Switch. Like, it fits that really well. And I've just been playing it when I'm winding down, like at night. I'll get into bed, I'll just pick it up, 20 minutes, yeah, that'll do, put it down. But yeah, it's decent, it's fun. But because it's a mobile game, it does feel kind of like it's missing something. It feels very small.
It's weird because the Switch definitely has been, I mean, it's been getting not only mobile style games, but games that are literally just a mobile game and then ported to the Switch later. There's like the Star Wars one coming out, the Pokemon game that's out at the moment. And it's strange because with that becomes like a multitude of microtransactions and pay to win and all that.
None of that in here though, which is nice.
With this one, none of that. Okay. So I'm guessing with a straight RPG, that's not something you'd be looking at.
It kind of defeat the point as well, because it's a game about alchemy, like where you're collecting ingredients and stuff. If you can just kind of like pay for the ingredients or something and make your items and stuff, you kind of negate in the game, because like that's another way that you level up. Like the items and stuff that you make, you just use them for permanent stat boosts,
right?
Stat boots,
stat boots. But yeah, you get permanent stat boosts from the items that you make. So yeah, the ability for microtransactions and stuff, it just completely defeat the object of it. It'd be pay to win for a single player game, which just makes no sense.
Do you think they might have changed the economy for the port, though, possibly?
No, because one of the good things about having it on mobile is when I got stuck, I Googled it and I found a YouTube video, a playthrough, and I went, right, I'm here, what do I do? All right, I'll do that. So that was useful, but there's none of it there, which was good. It's just a pick up and play thing, which is dead good.
So bearing in mind, again, you've said this is it a port of a mobile title, or is it
it's like a remaster.
It's a remaster of a mobile title. So what kind of price are we looking at? Because I'm assuming the £15 range?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard when you've got a review copy and it doesn't tell you once you've got it.
Yeah, because it's already on my system, so it's like, not going to tell you, which is great.
Oh, that's a shame.
But yeah, if it's a budget game, if it's like 10, 15 quid, that's decent. It's one, I think, to pick up in a sale. Like, I wouldn't pay 40 quid for it. It's not really...
Or 70 quid.
Big enough. 70 quid, unless you buy in Alien Fireteam Elite, which I got for less than 30.
Oh, we should talk about that then.
I think we should.
Okay, well, is this a recommend of the other one if you can find it cheap enough?
If you find it cheap enough and you're into sort of like just relaxing RPGs, then yeah, go for it.
Cool. Boom. Let's talk about Aliens.
All right, let's do it.
Before you get into it, Rick, I'm going to quickly say, because to compare this to a modern day version of Left 4 Dead, I was playing Back 4 Blood, the beta,
right?
While I've been away, and I really enjoyed that game because it's basically Left 4 Dead but on a modern system.
Yeah.
With this, outside of the license of Aliens, I thought it was quite lacking in what was available. But the main draw of the game seems to be, because this is a 3 on environment game, so you're 3 different Space Marines taking on a load of xenomorphs, like more xenomorphs than you could possibly conceive of, because there's never had this many in the films in the past. But yeah, just an army of xenomorphs constantly popping up, and you're going for a level. And
there's been quite a few aliens in all the films if you add them all together these days.
But you're solving minor puzzles in the fact of you're going to an area and clicking X
pressing
on
a switch,
or square on a hit a switch, and then suddenly loads of xenomorphs all fly out different directions, and you take them all down. In that sense, playing on your own, I found a bit lacking. But when you play with friends, that's where the entertainment comes in, which is the entertainment in most of these games of being on the mic with your mates, and a xenomorph is jumping off and trying to chomp on you while a face hugger's going for your mate.
Just waiting for them on the motion tracker and stuff, yeah? There has to be a motion tracker, right?
It's just in the bottom right of the screen.
Yeah.
Right.
What are your feelings on the game, Rick? Because you seem a lot more impressed than I've been.
I love it. It's a budget game.
Can't get more impressed than I love it.
Yeah, but like... It is a budget game.
Yeah.
Like, I got it on PS5 for less than 30 quid. It's 35 on the market. It's
the standard edition retails at 35, and then I think the super edition's like 50.
Yeah, like it is a cheap game. It is a budget game. So it doesn't have the polish of AAA stuff. So when the NPCs are talking between missions, their lips don't move, which is a bit odd. There's a lot of clipping. Like the aliens clip through stuff quite a lot. You'll clip through your teammates and things. So it feels very middle of the road, like AA, just nice budget. But it looks great for what it is. And I'm a big fan of Alien, and I'm playing it with my friend Mark, who is a Alien super fan. And we were just giddy playing it because it just really captures the feel of being a colonial marine from Aliens. And the combat is lovely. Like, the sound's awesome. It sounds movie perfect. The guns and equipment just feel really good. Like, every time you shoot something, it packs a good punch. And the best way to describe it is crunchy and splatty. It's just really, like, you really feel it.
That's a box quote.
Like, you really feel it. And yeah, like, the environments are just alright, very linear. The character design's kind of linear, and it is just waves, basically. It's waves of aliens and stuff. I wouldn't play it on my own, personally, because I know I'd get bored. But playing it with my mate, especially like Alien super fan, I've just spent the last 2 days listening to the audiobook of the prequel to this to get like context for all the weird stuff that's happening. And it's, even though we're just like, yeah, this is a cool game, we've found ourselves like slightly role playing and using terms like anyway. Watch my six,
stay frosty,
stay frosty, and it's like really like the way that we work together as well, because he's a heavy and I'm a gunner, so he's got the big cannon that like Vasquez uses, and I've just got the pulse rifle and shotgun. So he takes point, picking off what he can in the distance, and I try and get the ones that come in a little bit closer. And whoever the third person is, whether it's a random or a bot, we just let them do what they want. Like, we stick together. But what I found as well is, because you've not got infinite ammo, but there is ammo stores, and you've only got one med pack. So if you take a lot of damage and then use your med pack, and then take a bunch more damage before you've got to like an ammo med point, it gets really hairy. You're like, oh, this isn't good. What's happening? And you can, if you get downed, you can revive someone. And we won a mission yesterday. I ended up getting downed, but once you're on the floor, the xenomorphs will ignore you.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So you can crawl to your teammates and get revived. But my teammates were already in the elevator, ready to go. So they're fighting. They're fighting everything off because the xenomorphs are ignoring me. They're just swarming the elevator, and I'm crawling towards them, and I get into the lift just in time. And because I was there as well, it passed the mission, and it was
nice.
It was awesome. It was like, this is insane. This game is far better than it has any right to be, and like. It's cheap. It is cheap. It does have a very unpolished feel, like I said. But where it counts for me, and especially if I'm speaking from Mark as well, it's such a good representation of that particular part of the universe.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, you're a badass.
Yeah, I heard it discussed on Giant Bomb this week. And one of the things that Jeff criticised it for is it didn't feel like what people wanted from the Alien universe. And I think he was correct in so much as it's not a take on the Alien universe. It's very much a take on Aliens.
That's the thing. It's the, you know, if you want the Alien experience, play Isolation. If you want the Aliens experience, this is the game that Colonial Marines wanted to be. And, well, it's the game Colonial Marines should have been, to be honest.
With Isolation, they had the aesthetic of the 80s look of the future. You know, you're on the Nostromus, but you've got this CRT televisions and VHSs recording data and all that kind of green text on the CRT flickering and all that kind of stuff. And this one is more the 90s, the Aliens, and it's fun in that aspect. Like, it's just action all the time, things popping off all the time. But it's playing it on your own. It is very linear. So I do think you need the other people to be playing this with. There's a couple of people that I know that are picking this up, so I'm looking forward to getting some multiplayer on it. But what I like is what I specifically like about this game is the references, because in other games like Colonial Marines, they will just go, "Hey, here's this guy's gun just there." Like, it's got his name scratched into it. You know, with this one, you will see some references, like you might go, "Oh, look, there's the power loader armor," but it makes sense. It's in an area where there would be power loaders.
Yeah, where they're loading stuff.
Yeah, where they're loading stuff. So it's not references for reference sake.
Yeah.
It's they've used it smart.
Yeah, like with the gunner, the default is the pulse rifle and the shotgun, which is what Hicks uses in the film. Because they're like, okay, this is going to be the default gunner. So that's like a really, really cool thing. And there's all different types of aliens. So there's the young ones, which are kind of just cannon fodder. Then there's drones, and the drones look like they do in Aliens, you know, like with the ridged head. And then you get spitters, things that explode, prowlers, which are these like big red ones. And then there's, how far into it are you, Chris?
I'm only a few levels in. I haven't fully finished.
You've seen Monica?
Yes.
Like the big, massive, stripy one. That's an interesting story. How that alien comes about, which is in the book, which is really, really cool. But they all look different, and they all have actual roles to play. So using Left 4 Dead like as a reference, your young ones are just like regular zombies, and you've got your boomers and stuff like that. So it keeps you on your toes, and it does just flood you with it. Like if you stand around for too long, they'll just push again. They'll just start spawning again, and you're like, come on, can I breathe for 5 minutes, please?
When you start playing, because I'm playing as the technician, I think. Right. So I've got a shotgun, mainly because I've got the turret. The turret's the best thing in the damn game. But because you get these little floods of xenomorphs just kind of galloping at you and crawling over ceilings and stuff, and you can kind of one-shot kill them. You go, man, I am a badass Marine compared to these idiots that I've seen in the films. And then it's not that hard. Just go in with a sawn-off. You're great. You're grand. And then all of a sudden you see the first kind of standing xenomorph come towards you, and you're like, oh no, it's not going well.
Yeah, something else that I really like as well is when you finish a mission, you get 2 different types of credits. You get credits for upgrading your weapons, and then credits for unlocking cosmetics. But there's no loot boxes, and there's no microtransactions. Everything that you get, you have to earn it. There's no shortcuts to no payment. It's just like, no, this is game unlocks. Pick what you want, spend your experience, like your credits on what you want, get your Marine looking how you want, get the loadout that you want. And it could have been so easy especially for a game of this budget, to put microtransactions in it, just to sort of buffer, like have the cheap release, which isn't going to make a lot of money, even if it sells well, but then have microtransactions in it just to get a bit of return. But they didn't. They just chose full on as it used to be, like earn it, unlock it, and I like that a lot. It means it's going to have a lot of replay value for me and my friend.
Yeah, even so much in the way they've done the DLC, because there's 2 versions of the game you can get. You can get the standard version, and you can get like the deluxe version. And the deluxe version comes with the season pass, because they're going to do a bunch of DLC and stuff for this game. But also there's the kind of DLC you get for buying the deluxe version as well. And usually in this kind of game where there's a license attached, that's their one to go, this is Ripley's gun, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're just like a regular shotgun, that kind of stuff. And it was good because it actually made me look at the deluxe version, which I was all prepared to go in for, and then go, yeah, there's actually no need for me to get this right now. I'll just wait and see what DLC comes down the line and if I actually enjoy the base version of this game. So that's what I'm doing.
But the answer to that question is yes-ish.
If you're going to play it with friends, yeah. But it's not one to sit down and play for a while. Like, we played for an hour.
Yeah.
About an hour and a half, and we're like, yeah, we're good for today. But when I get off tonight, after we've finished recording the podcast, I'm jumping back on it with him for another hour or so. It's because of like the linearity of the levels, and it is just sort of, it's like Space Invaders, just the stuff coming at you and you're just taking them down. And it's just about that kind of like dopamine hit of being a badass that you go, all right, this is cool.
Even though it's a different game and genre and different developer sort of thing, I do think this kind of reminds me of the Terminator Salvation in terms of it seems like a team that knows what they're doing with the license and has used it well, even though they don't have a big budget to fully flesh it out.
Budget title, rough around the edges, but you can see that there's love and appreciation and respect for the IP that it is. So it's very much that. Similar
to the Predator game that came out, which there's a lot of these kind of small budget games that, I mean, this one's better because they are charging less to kind of reflect on the smaller budget, but titles like the Predator game, which is a very good game, but kind of after playing the beta, I went, yep, that's enough of that. I don't need to play more of this. What else? The Friday the 13th. There's these horror titles, basically. They lend themselves very well to this kind of multiplayer online type game with a smaller budget. And I like that they've priced this one accordingly, The
thing as well that this one does right compared to the other examples that you used is it only has Marines. You play as Marines. There's no, I want to be the alien now, and you chasing down your mates. Like,
do you know what? That would be cool, though.
Did you play Colonial Marines?
No, but I used to play the Alien vs Predator games on PC and even the Atari Jaguar back in the day. But I like the idea of not so much I'm a xenomorph and I'm going to crawl through the pipes and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I like the idea that the fourth player or the fifth player, if you wanted to go that route, is like the queen alien and is entering more of a, like the Fable game that never came out, Legends, where you have more of a strategy game for the other character where you're kind of pointing.
So that'd be cool.
So one's kind of playing director, general, pointing where their armies are going, and then the other ones are literally run and gun.
Yeah, you could even do it like for the person doing that, it changes perspective and it becomes like a MOBA. And for the Marines, it's actually a maze. So that'd be cool. But I think this is just you and two mates. I don't know why it's 3. That's a bit odd. Like if it was 4 player, but three just seems like a weird number to me for some reason.
I'm assuming it's just for network limitations.
Must be.
And a way of keeping it stable the way the game runs, because it does seem like it should be a 4-player game.
Yeah.
But
there's a reason Destiny did it that way.
Yeah, exactly. You literally have a fire team. It's called Fireteam Elite.
Yeah, like I love it. I love it for what it is. It's not a 10 out of 10 best game I've ever played, but like Terminator Resistance, it's just that, it's good for what it is.
I will put this game on my radar or my motion tracker.
Good. Put it on your wish list that PlayStation doesn't have.
Yes.
Yes, anymore.
Good plan.
Tim, you've been playing the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. I have also been playing Ghost of Tsushima's Director's Cut.
Ooh.
How are you finding it? Are you doing Icky Island or are you back onto the main game?
I've got through most of the main game anyway, so I continued from my save where I've already done everything. Like, there's still a few like tidy up bits to do kind of thing, a few Mongol outposts and things, but generally I finished the main story and I finished all the side quests.
Okay.
So I went on to Icky Island and kind of got on with some of the new content basically. One thing that I had to correct myself, because when it was announced it it seemed confusing as to what the pricing was exactly with this.
If you want the PlayStation 5 upgrade, it is £25.
Yes, well, that's what I thought. But then what the hell is the £9 thing? If you already bought this, and then you buy a PS5, you've got to pay an additional £9? Can I just cut you off
for a minute?
Yep.
You have to pay for the upgrade.
Yes.
So,
but that's for the.
It's a DLC expansion.
It's a DLC expansion to the game plus the upgrade. So the idea is, even though with a lot of games you don't pay anything for the upgrade, and for Xbox it seemingly you don't pay anything for any upgrade, but unless it's Activision, if you are playing if you want to upgrade from the PS4 to the PS5 version with the DLC, that is £25. If you want to upgrade your PS4 copy to have the DLC, that is £9 less than 25. Basically, subtracting, you can go, well, how much are they charging us to upgrade to the PS5 version? £9.
Right.
But there is no option to pay £9 to just upgrade your game to the PS5 version.
Yes, which is weird.
It is director's cut or nothing.
Or you can just buy it on the PS5 for 70 quid.
But I swear there's something that you download before you have to pay for the content, the game, the upgrade. That I think is just the upgrade to the way that the management system works for importing saves from the PS4.
There's an update to the PS4 game. If you want to transfer your saves, you need to do the update first. That's pretty standard in all the other PS5 games, but they've basically finally figured out how to go. You don't need to have both games installed. You just need your save file installed and to have installed this latest version last time. You don't have to have both versions on one hard drive and swap your saves around and all that rubbish.
So that is a bit easier, but it still meant that you couldn't as an owner of the game already, you could not pre-order the DLC, which was just dumb. Like, whoever's in charge of the back end of these things, you haven't planned well. This is not working well. This is an improvement on your system, and it's still not very good. That said, I've enjoyed an excuse to go back to this game again. Basically, it is nice to have like new content to actually go back to. I still haven't really gone and messed around with the Legends mode, which I would like to do at some stage. But yeah, like at the moment. Got the new armor set. There's a new armor set. There's new moves for your horse and stuff that you can do with your horse. And there's upgrades related to that. There's a couple of exploration type upgrades as well. And so it does kind of add a little bit to your character and a little bit to what's going on. And then there's like horse armor that I'm on the way to possibly go and get as well, basically.
That takes me back.
So, I mean, yeah, I think I paid, how much was the horse armor originally? Was it $4.99? Anyway, I bought horse armor back in the day on
That's because you're a mug.
Yeah. Oblivion, yes. Well, I'm part of the problem.
£20,000.
I am the reason that we have all the in-game purchases now, basically. From what I've seen so far, there is extra content and there is kind of a bit more of the same, but there seems to be a greater tendency towards there's a more seafaring kind of nautical theme to some of the content going on. That could just be slightly early days because I've arrived on the coast and that was kind of the case earlier on in the game, the sort of main original part of the game. But yeah, like it seems to be that there's a bit more seafaring kind of nature to some of the people you're encountering, at least early on in the Iki Island content stuff. But it does reintroduce some characters. Kenji makes an appearance from previously, and yeah, like so far, I'm not. Right, I'm glad I've had an excuse to go back to the game, but I'm not entirely sure I'm satisfied with the £25 purchase, especially when you're comparing it to the fact that for £10 more I could have picked up Aliens Fireteam.
Exactly,
basically. So, you know what I mean? Like that becomes a bit more of a difficult value proposition. I may reserve judgment until I've gone all the way through the content. That said, oh my word, this game looked beautiful already. It looks great and behaves like it loads really fast anyway, so I don't know how much they could speed up loading times just moving to the PS5. It was one I'd messed around with briefly just on the PS5 before the upgrade. I couldn't necessarily go, well, this is definitely better and like pinpoint particular things that are noticeably graphically improved this time around.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you is it looks fantastic. The Icky Island content stuff generally, like, it seems to be, they've opened up the color palette a little bit, especially showing off some of the early kind of massive cinematic vistas that you kind of open onto from different viewpoints and stuff, and just like the range of like flowers and stuff, and just how detailed and coloured they are and all that type of stuff does look quite impressive. And they've also added some mechanics and some things for the pad, for the DualSense that didn't have support before. So there's little things, just like the way the bow works and stuff like that has a bit more kind of tension to it and stuff.
It's the most tired example of the DualSense capabilities. If you pull on a bow, it's going to get tighter.
Yeah, and then they've added a thing that seems a little superfluous, if you ask me as well, but it's got a thing where to open various door entrances and cave entrances and pulling down bridges and things, you can now hook it with your grapple hook and then pull it, and it's kind of, you hold one trigger and then you have to hold down the other one, and it's just, yeah, whatever. Like, it feels a little bit gimmicky, but you're like, okay, you're showing off the pad a bit, I guess, kind of.
I found, because I tried to go back to Ghost of Tsushima when it was the PS4 version, because they did the improvements for PS5, it was increased frame rate and what have you.
Yeah.
Even when, because I spoke about God of War, I went back to God of War and they did the improvements, and it felt like I was playing, like you could have put that up against any PS5 game, launch game, or any game really.
Yeah.
And I would have gone, yep, that's a PS5 game. I would not have noticed any different that was a PS4 game. It played so much nicer and smoother. When I did it with Ghost of Tsushima, something was off about the frame rate that was actually making me feel travel sick to gallop around on the horse.
Oh.
So I stopped playing and thought, I'll wait for this director's cut upgrade, and now I can play the game and feel much better playing the game. So that's been my main thing. I am tempted to, because I've only really dipped my toe in just to sort of go, oh, these are improvements. I like these improvements. I can play the game again. I'm tempted to just go back and play the game from the start, because I didn't get hugely into it. I kind of got sidetracked in, let's see how many upgrades I can collect while I'm playing through the game.
My save file that I noted, that because I imported it over and stuff, was at 70 hours when I completed the game, basically. So, mostly completed the game. As I said, kind of wanted an excuse to go back to it. I'm not regretting the decision to do so. It's been really fun. I really like it.
Well, beat Icky Island first and then see how you feel.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can pet cats now after playing flute tunes for them, where you wave things about a bit with the pad kind of waving around in the air. But that works quite well. Like, if you told me that a motion-censored musical thing had been added, I'd be like, oh, that sounds terrible. But it actually works quite well, and it's quite good, and it kind of, suits and fits.
There's a microphone on the DualSense, isn't there?
Yeah.
Can they not make you put it up to your mouth and blow into
actually whistle it? I don't know. That's
like
something you want to be doing. But yeah, this works reasonably well. It makes it feel like you're actually playing the tune a little bit, and it does actually go out of tune when you miss notes and stuff. So that kind of works.
It'd be like when you worked out in Ocarina of Time that you could actually do your own music in the Ocarina.
Yeah. Time to break an NDA. I mean, not break it, because it's been smashed open.
We'll be quick on this now because we've got a lot to cover today, and then chat more on it next week, I think. But Riders Republic, me and Tim went for the closed beta, which we're not allowed to talk about.
Not allowed to talk about.
But then the open beta happened, and we are allowed to talk about. How are you finding the game, Tim? Because for me, this has sold me into going, because I am excited about Riders Republic, and I thought this was going to be a day one purchase for me. This has more made me go, because I had the same problem with Steep, which is by the same part of Ubisoft. I played the alpha, and then the beta, and went, okay, I'm going to wait till they fix this. And I'm glad I did, because I've recently been playing Steep, and it actually plays really well compared to when I first started playing it. Yeah,
might go back and play some Steep.
So Riders Republic, I'm having that same feeling of going, I like what they're doing, but I might wait after it's been out for a little while. One, because I can save money, and two, it will probably play better technically.
Yeah. Now, one thing that and I'm going to mention this, and then we might have to change the conversation based on your response, possibly. But
fair enough.
Yeah, like, it kept on telling me that I had reached the level cap for the beta.
Right.
But then it kept on unlocking stuff. So I kept on playing more stuff. And I don't know if that's stuff that I was supposed to be able to get access to, so I don't know if it's stuff that I'm able to talk about or not. And I don't want to get us in any trouble.
This is like when I got given a demo of NBA 1997 for the PlayStation, and it turned out they'd actually did it. There was a printing error, and I got sent the full game.
Amazing.
Right. So, what things did you get access to? Because when I was playing the early portions of the game, there was snowboarding and events you could do on snowboards or skis, and then events you could do on mountain bikes and road bikes. And a wingsuit level at the beginning. Yeah,
the wingsuit jetpack, which I've got to say, out of when they first started showing this thing, you're like, yeah, cool, mountain biking, snowboarding, skiing, all that kind of stuff. Then the second trailer came out and they went, wingsuit jetpacks. And I was like, yes, I am all about that. When you finally play them, you're like, oh, that's really basic. That is not as exciting as I had hyped this up in my head.
I got to other things, and as I got to some of the things, my suspicions of me possibly not should have had access to them, I'm trying to be careful about my words here, was heightened as the things worked less well.
Oh, okay. So you think you've accidentally hit a debug version of the game or something?
Not necessarily. I just think it didn't recognise that my stars weren't supposed to go up.
Fair enough.
Kept on giving stars and then giving access to some levels it maybe shouldn't have done. I don't know. But that actual suit at the beginning, it's not a wingsuit, it's like a rocket suit, I think they refer to it as, or something like that. But did you actually play one of the wingsuit levels?
No, I've not got that far.
Right. So I don't know entirely whether I'm entirely supposed to talk about that or not.
All right. Well,
all I will say is the wingsuit levels were very different to the rocket suit levels, and I can't understand why they're not putting that front and centre, because that was a lot more interesting, let's say.
It might be, I mean, a lot of this focus does seem to be on more of the desert type activities, like the skiing, like the mountain biking. Whereas the wingsuit was part of the snowboarding and the skiing that you'd find in steep. So maybe they're just avoiding it for that reason, to kind of distance themselves from steep a bit.
More differences and stuff.
But the skiing stuff, it's really good, and it should be, because they have had a lot of time to play around with steep. The coolest thing about this game, though, it will show you a map of your next destination, and each time it does, it will show you the icons on the map of all the players.
Yeah,
and it's just this bundle of people just jigging around, and you're like, wow, that's really cool. I wish it played better.
So I don't have to dance around things. I'm going to concentrate on the things that I definitely can talk about without sort of getting us into trouble. So I will say the mountain bike stuff that they show at the beginning of the game.
It's fun.
I'm a mountain biker. That's the kind of bikes I tend to ride, even on the road. I don't have a road bike. I have a mountain bike.
You've never been to a mountain.
Don't even know what a mountain is. You're in Finchley.
Never even seen a mountain.
Apart from,
Like, look at that pointy hill.
That's a speed bump, Tim. Speed bump.
This is kind of the mountain biking that I would never want to do in real life, but quite like the idea of doing digitally. I really quite like what they're doing with especially the proper downhill mountain bike stuff that they're doing, and the levels that they give you access to in the game. I really like the way that works, and I really like what they've done with that. I really like the feeling of the rush of speed when you get up to full speed on things. I really like the way the braking works, and that feels like you're literally on the edge of the kind of cliff edge at times, and the way it you can sort of drift round on tight areas and stuff like that. That feels like you're riding a bike fast, and I quite like that, and I quite like the way it's done that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's my favourite part of the game so far. With the snowboarding, I quite like it, and as I got more used to the controls, I was getting better with it. But there is something hardwired in my brain about a snowboarding game or a skiing game or just, general winter sports game, where I categorically cannot get away from thinking that X is my jump button, and I have to hold that down to wind things up, and then I do things.
That's because you played too much SSX.
But every other snowboarding game I've ever played has kind of played that way as well. They've always followed that model. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a problem to step away from that. I'm just saying I had a hard time rewiring my brain from that not being the way things work.
Is it like going from Tony Hawk's to Skate? That kind of, oh, this is different.
Yeah. Say you wanted to do a rotational kind of flip. You hold down the X button and then press the triangle button as you're going over the edge. But if you wanted to do a back, I can't remember which way round it is, but if you wanted to do a front flip or a back flip, you do it the opposite way round. So you'd be holding triangle down and then you press X as you're going over the edge.
Cool borders, calm down.
And then you can just hold to spin, you do square and circle, and then it's to do,
spinny spin.
Multi-rotational things, you just hold down multiple
Backward flipper-do, that's what that one's called.
But yeah, like that just took a while to get my brain used to that. But I think I could get used to that, and that could be a good system. But yeah, I've had a hard time getting used to that at first, at least.
I weirdly liked the skiing, which I hate skiing in
the
all
desert.
games. So I have no idea why I liked it so much. I think something just clicked with me on that. The thing I didn't like about the game, and I'm hoping it's something that's fixed before the launch. Well, I'm assuming it is because the game's been pushed back enough times now. When I played the game, it felt like someone had grabbed a handful of Vaseline and just smeared it on the screen.
Really?
Because it was really blurry and weird. And then I went into the options and went, oh, that motion blur's got to come off. Turn the motion blur off. Exactly the same. So I don't know if that's a technical limitation. I don't know what's happened there, but I'm assuming that's something that's going to, because the gameplay they show
on a Switch.
Yeah, it felt a bit like that actually, when they kind of downscaled a game to fit on a mobile or something. But the footage they show in the gameplay for the trailers does not look like that. So I'm assuming it is just kind of a downgrade for the network test and all that kind of stuff. But
I had the reverse thing there as well. I actually thought it was graphically quite impressive.
Okay.
I actually, from the graphical side of things, I was like, oh, this is a PS5 game. Or it looked that way to me, type of thing.
You're playing on PS5, I'm playing on Series S. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe I need to be picking up a PlayStation version at launch. It's definitely one of those things that I don't think there's going to be a pre-order from me. I'm going to wait till the reviews come out and then I get some consumer impressions post that point. And then if I like the look of it, I will go pick up a copy. Then if it's a kind of middling reviews that it's going to get better, then I'll hold off and wait and pick up a copy, a little bit down the road after they've had time to fix things.
The other thing I'll say is as a mountain bike fan, more than it sort of shows up for me in other sports as well, it's just the fact that they've got real world bikes and makes in the actual game as well is quite cool. I wasn't actually expecting that to necessarily be a thing, but yeah,
that could be a really common thing. How many mountain bike games you play?
Not many, I must say.
I haven't played one since the PlayStation 1, so
I mean, there has been a few like downhill mountain bike things which I've been meaning to check out, but as I said, I quite like this and quite like what he was doing in places. I'm slightly reserved with some of my words, but slightly reserved with some of the things that I've seen as well. So
that's fair. I'm going to touch on a couple of things real quick, but going to save more for next week. So Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. I have been playing it. Thank you, Square, for sending me a copy. Sorry, I haven't been talking about it. I've been away. Things happened. But yes, it's a very good game and possibly a version of Final Fantasy VII Remake that you would prefer, Tim, because there is a board game element thrown into the game where they've taken the level of Fort Condor and turned it into a strategy board game, but not. So you might like the look of that.
That's the best way of adapting that part of the original game into this remake.
Yeah, I hated Fort Condor as a kid. Concurrent to playing the remake, I'm playing the original, and I don't want to progress part Fort Condor because I'm like, I just don't want to do it.
But you need Phoenix as well. Like, you got to do it again later on.
Yeah. Psychonauts 2, that has been released on Game Pass. I've been very excited for this, even so much that I went back and played Psychonauts and Rhombus of Ruin to get myself ready. If you are looking to play Psychonauts on the Xbox with backwards compatibility, or play it on the PC. The PlayStation version is literally the port of the PS2 version stuck on a PS5 or PS4, rough edges, blurriness and all. If you play the Xbox version...
It's on Game Pass as well. the original.
Yeah. Oh, is it really? Okay. If you play the Xbox version, it is much smoother. They've upgraded it, up-resed it. I'm assuming because Double Fine is part of Xbox now, and they had Psychonauts 2 in the pipeline, and also PC. PC has mods and stuff to fix it. But yeah,
the Steam
Xbox
version is really good anyway.
Yeah, seems to be the best way to play it. After Psychonauts, there is Rhombus of Ruin, which is the setup to Psychonauts 2, but works really, really well as a standalone game. I think kind of semi-sequel, but very good as well. Psychonauts 2, it's weird because what they've done is they've taken this idea of, we've made this game back in the Xbox and PS2 days, where we've tried to take this kind of Tim Burton style because it fits the technical limitation of what we're trying to do, and it works. And then with the Psychonauts 2, they've gone, we need to keep that original style, but make it work on modern day consoles. And again, it totally works. So it's very enjoyable in that sense. If you've played Psychonauts, it's the same flipping game, basically. It's a 3D platformer, all side quests and collectibles and all that kind of stuff. It's exactly the same. The music, tones, and things seem to be interchangeable. But that's a good thing in this sense. It's just more, it's a tighter control system, and it works really well. I'm going to leave it for next week to talk more about it, but if you're a fan of Psychonauts, it's a recommend from me. If you're a fan of 3D platformers, probably a recommend as well.
Well, if you're not a massive fan of either and you kind of bounce off the first one,
don't bloody play Psychonauts then.
Okay, that's what I'm going.
What if you don't like this thing? Will I like the other one that's exactly the same? No.
Yeah. Exactly the same. And lastly, I've been playing Marvel Avengers War for Wakanda because that update came up, and I completely forgot it was coming out, and they sent me an email, and I went, oh yeah, War of Wakanda.
Bless you.
With the War of Wakanda update, it adds another bunch of levels that are similar to the kind of Kate Bishop Hawkeye set. Same, so it's not a huge update in terms of loads of stuff to do. It's a couple of hours story thrown on top, new areas, Wakanda, funnily enough.
Yeah.
And a new social hub, Wakanda. But also you get the character of Black Panther. And if you...
From
Wakanda. If you own Marvel's Avengers, then this is a free update for you. The only thing you have to pay for is if you are trying to mainline Black Panther and you want all the updates available to him through the character card, you have to pay for the character card, which I think $7.99 in total. That's the same with you get the title cards included for the characters on the launch game, but any DLC characters come out, they're free, but
So it's essentially like a game pass, like a season pass.
There you go. It's basically a season pass, but specifically for that character and not for a season. They don't expire or anything. The character of Black Panther is brilliant. He is a brawler, a lot more like Captain America, just without the shield. But that makes him faster as well. He does a lot of kind of diving, pouncing attacks like a cat or a panther, some might say. And it's very enjoyable. I really enjoy playing as Black Panther. I've got some other characters I'm trying. At the moment, I'm trying to bring up my Hawkeye. So Black Panther's kind of...
That sounds rude.
Yeah, I know. But me and Tim were playing the other day with our friends Bleezy and Will, and I needed a low-level character because when we started up, I think Will went, oh, my character's only like level 120. I'm like, well, mine's a level 150. Maybe I should dumb it down a bit. And then Tim went, here's my level 4 Hulk. He's my highest ranked character. I was like, I better play as Black Panther then. But after playing with Black Panther for a while, because when I started, I'd had a couple of weeks away from Marvel and I'd started to forget some of the more technical parts of characters in that game, and then playing as Black Panther's like I don't know what I'm doing. After getting the hang of him playing with other people, I was like, oh, I actually do at some point want to get this character to full spec because he is very fun to play as when you start unlocking stuff. And he's voiced by the same guy who did Kratos, so there you go. That's
from
cool.
Stargate.
Okay.
Yes.
Stargate SG-1.
The guy who played Teal'c.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I met him at a Dead Space 2 event.
Riveting story. Chris,
He was quite drunk and very nice.
I feel bad that I don't remember his name, but a couple of friends of mine.
Chris Judge.
Teal'c.
That sounds right.
You said it.
A couple of friends of mine went to a Comic-Con where he was doing a thing with a bunch of other Stargate guys. And each time someone went up to the microphone to ask a question, they would start with going, "Thank you for coming," and then ask their question. And he would, "Thank you very much," and then ask their question. And apparently one of my mates went up to the microphone and just started asking the question. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! And you're going to thank me for coming." And I like that. So there you go. Boy. Long before he was Kratos. So there you go. Anyway, the update's really good. The game's I think I'm the biggest fan of Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix in the world. I'm the only one that seems to consistently like this game. We were playing all together. I was like, "Isn't this game great?" And Tim's like, "Oh, it's good for a PS3 game." And Bleach is like, "Oh, look at Kamala Khan glitching out." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's so fun. Why am I the only one who likes this game?"
The fact that you play that, then have the audacity to say anything negative about Fireteam Elite is beyond me.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but to be fair, I dived back into a bit more of the single-player content, because the reason why I got such low-level characters is because I still haven't played through all the single-player portion of the game. So I dived back into that and played a little bit more of that after we finished playing, or the day after we played. And yeah, like, I have to say, I need to go back and play that. There is an enjoyable single-player experience in there, regardless of possibly not enjoying the grind to get to the end game of the multiplayer.
Do your single player, get to the point where it starts allowing you to add in your friends, and then I'll jump in with you, because I like that story and I've been looking for a reason to play it. So there you go.
Oh, okay.
I'll happily do that again.
A friend tried to give me a copy and I said no.
You should play.
Yeah, I'm playing as Iron Man at the moment.
Play with us.
Yes. Get yourself a copy and let's play.
I'll let you be Hawkeye. Your favourite.
Oh, wow, he's my favourite.
Yeah.
He's my favourite bow and arrow boy.
You can get your hair cut like him and everything. It'll be grand. I'll probably talk about that more next week when I have played a lot more Marvel Avengers, because I will never stop playing Marvel's Avengers. This has become my destiny. Speaking of which, Rick, you got time to hang around? We got Gamescom to talk about.
Yeah, I can hang around for a bit.
Gamescom 2021. We're not talking about everything available, because not everything is available to us. This is Thursday as we're recording, Thursday evening. So we are as far as night one of Gamescom and the things that came before it. So first off, Destiny 2 Showcase.
What's the night before Gamescom?
Yes. Destiny 2 Showcase. There is the new expansion, The Witch Queen. So we are going to get our top Destiny expert to talk about this game.
Who we've given the week off.
The week off.
I know this game.
I've got quite a big head.
Love you, Coleman.
Did you miss a dick?
My name's Daniel. I'm 14 years old. I burnt Chrissy up in the first round, and the rest of you are going to be left eating my dust.
I'm going to take me and my standard dong out.
Roger me with an avocado and call me Keith. I'm not a man.
Brilliant.
Anyway, so Tim, you're as our now foremost expert in Destiny 2. What's the launch date of the Witch Queen expansion?
I will say 22nd of February 2022, but I will also add,
did it.
Just before the show, I was reading Rami Ishmael put up I'm not sure if it's 50 or 70 tweet long description of the story of Destiny so far. I urge anyone who's interested in to go read it. I was reading it, generally keeping up, had a few things explained to me, got to the point where it talked about space dragons, and I'm like, no, f*** you, I'm out.
Yes, anyway, Destiny 2, there was a showcase. They spoke about the Witch Queen expansion, the launch date of which will be the 22nd of February. There's going to be a new weapon archetype, the glaive. I love a glaive, so I'm actually quite tempted into that. There's also going to be a bunch of stuff added in that I don't care about, so we're not going to talk about it. So if you came for your Destiny news, sorry, Dan's not here this week.
Sorry, Dan will be here next week. We'll talk about Destiny news in full and too much detail.
And I will test the mute function at that point. There was also an Xbox game stream, which overall, I don't know about you guys, I was very meh on. I think the community was as well. If you look at YouTube, I think the first comment to put down is, I can't wait to find out about the Halo campaign. And then loads of people commenting on that going, yeah, same. Yeah, can't wait. It's going to be fire. It's going to be lit. And then somewhere down is like, bruh.
Yeah, they did try and temper expectations before this went out. It is a Gamescom like opening night thing, or like Gamescom press conference thing. It was never going to be that huge, guys. Calm down a bit, maybe. And I guess I didn't go in with quite the same expectations. Also, one thing, and I'm not sure if I think I mentioned it last time that it was the case, but yeah, Paris Lilly was the host of this, and I've known him for many years, and seeing him actually go up and host these things, and as much as there wasn't much content there, I still think he did a good job of nailing the hosting. There was a few cringe moments in there, which I
feel the need for speed.
Yeah, the need for speed was a bit still. The danger zone thing was a kind of joke from last time.
The danger zone thing, it didn't work the first time. you tried it again.
No, but I respect the fact that he was just like, no, I don't care if it didn't work last time. We're doing it again. Like, I like that. Anyway, but yeah, like, and yeah, just all power to him for like absolutely nailing the presentation of a giant international press conference thing for Xbox. That said, I said, I don't know if it helped the fact that my expectations were tempered by seeing stuff beforehand saying, yeah, there's not going to be any major news. I do think they should have got in front and said, there will be no Halo news, basically. I do think they should have said that openly and kind of stated that beforehand, because that didn't help them, I don't think.
Imagine in an alternate universe, Tim's presenting this and it lasts twice as long and it's full of ums and ers.
About 12 years long.
Good job to Paris. He's not the most offensive presenter when it comes to these streams. It's more the format and the writing. I hate. One of the biggest things in media I absolutely just absolutely disdain is American style morning talk shows. And that's what I got from this presentation. And it's not down to the fault of the presenters. It's down to the writing and the way it's been planned, unfortunately. I think Paris is a very nice guy, and I'm a big fan of his. I follow his Twitter and stuff and his updates and everything he puts down. I will pick up what you're putting down. It's just in this case. And it's the same with like Greg Miller. I'm a big fan of Greg Miller, but when he presents, he did the last thing at E3 at some point, and it
just comes across as quite disingenuous. But it is just a job at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So we had Dying Light 2 Stay Human. We got a gameplay trailer of that, and also a release date release date of the 7th of December.
It looks nice. I don't know if I care.
I have just installed all of Dying Light and all its DLCs and things ready to go. Right, I've now got a date I have to finish this game by.
I really think I should have liked the last game more than I did. I didn't dislike it. I just bounced off it again, kind of thing. Like, put it down and never picked it back up again, sort of idea. But yeah.
Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I didn't put that in my list, but that's also a game that I've been playing a bunch of as well.
They talked about that for far too long and in far too much detail.
It's amazing. All these people share these screenshots of flying all over the world, and all I do is drive from the airbase just down the road from me to the airbase where I grew up in Gosport. And I just go back and forth and go, I miss going home. Soon, hopefully. Anyway, Microsoft Flight Simulator, there is a Germany, Austria, Switzerland world update coming on the 7th of September. On the same date, there'll also be a Junkers JU52 teaser, update, which I did not get the enthusiasm for that, but hey, Germany.
It seems Germany loves that plane. I swear we've seen that plane in lots of movies and stuff, though, no?
Maybe.
Isn't that the one that's in, like, Indiana Jones and stuff,
I couldn't
possibly?
care.
Anyway.
Stick a Spitfire in it, you cowards. Volocopter, that's the weird automated delivery copter thing coming out of Germany. That's coming out in November at some point. And the Reno Air Races teaser they showed off, that's coming the fall of 2021. That was the one thing I was excited about in that trailer, because it was like, hey.
And it's not coming out yet.
Because when they started talking about stuff, porting the game to the Xbox, it immediately made me go, they could do for Forza, with Forza Horizon, what they did for Forza. Like, I want Microsoft Flight Simulator Horizon. That seems
to be a platform, basically. Oh, what stupid stunt version of it, basically. Yeah,
like more fun. And then they went, stunt races. Like, I'm more excited about that.
Okay.
Probably one of the biggest announcements from the Xbox stream is the Humble Games announcement. There is
Yes.
So we don't know how long this partnership is going to be, but for certain at this moment, there are going to be a bunch of titles released from Humble Games that will be day one released on Xbox Game Pass. This will include Archive, Next Space Rebels, Midnight Fight Express, Dodgeball Academia.
Which is already out, oddly. That one, yeah. Bushiden looked really good. I like the look of that.
Flynn, Son of Crimson, Unpacking, which I'm excited for. I don't know why.
God, that looks so boring.
I'm about to move house. I do not want to play that game. As soon as I saw it, I just started crying. I was like, no, I don't need this.
Signals Unsighted.
If you want to play it in 3D, you can come and unpack my house.
Coleman would probably like that,
yeah.
to be fair.
Also, Chinatown Detective Agency, and then they did a reveal of a new title that is coming out on the 19th of October called Into the Pit, and I am all about Into the Pit.
Mm-hmm.
Did you mention Signalis?
Yes, I think I did. Signalis.
That's the one I'm looking forward to, because that looks like a PS1 survival horror game.
There was also Age of Empires 4. They did a long presentation on how cool trebuchets are. And
I enjoyed that.
Trebuchets are cool.
I actually really enjoyed that. When she was like, did you hear the noise that it made? The noise. I was like, oh, this is cool. I didn't care about the game.
Also, I would just like to say, just for extra nerd points, I have seen that trebuchet in action. Actually at Warwick Castle.
Making us jealous.
So, yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah, I love a trebuchet as much as the next guy, but why was that on the Xbox?
Why did they show the video of the whole thing? Show a little intro to it, maybe show.
Watch the full video on YouTube at this channel or something. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, Age of Empires 4, that's coming out on October the 28th. Xbox Cloud Gaming, this is the one that has been waited for. A lot of people have been waiting for.
That was a big announcement.
Yeah, this is coming holiday 2021, so around about Christmas time for the uninitiated in America. The idea is, so you can do your cloud game streaming on your phone. You can do it on your PC through certain browser stuff. I think that's available to everyone now. I'm not 100% sure. Mm-hmm. But now you'll be able to do it on your Xbox Series X and S, but also your Xbox One. And where that is big news, it means you will be able to play the latest games only available on the Xbox Series X and S on the Xbox One through cloud streaming. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And it looks like they're aiming for 1080, 60 frames per second as a standard. So if you've got the speed to be able to handle that, well done. And also, I think they just hammered that final nail into the coffin of Stadia.
Yes.
Good riddance.
Looking forward to it. Wasteland 3, there was a new DLC that's coming out called Cult of the Holy Detonation.
Yeah, it reminds me I do need to go back and play more of that game because I quite enjoyed it and just haven't played more of it. But
there's also going to be a big bundle, including the main game with the Battle of Steeltown and the Holy Detonation expansions all included. And both the DLC and the big bundle are going to be available on the 5th of October. Sea of Thieves in one of the most pointless spots in Xbox's stream. I love me some Sea of Thieves. I play it a lot, but there's going to be a Mayhem ship set, which is all bits available.
Difficult to say 3 times.
Yeah.
Quick succession.
Candyman. Oh no, sorry, that's the wrong thing.
No.
It all ties.
You're not looking in a mirror. You're fine.
I'm looking to a camera. Surely that counts. But
could be a mirror.
It's all Borderlands stuff, but I don't understand why. Surely this is something you want to put in when Borderlands 3 comes out, not a year after. They're going to do a Making Mayhem event, so you can unlock everything in the Making Mayhem event rather than buy it if you do so before the 7th of December.
Go pirate, Coleman.
I love being a pirate.
When they showed that and they showed the ship, that looks crap. That was an ugly ship. That boat is minging.
Not as good as the Sails of Hope.
I need no other ship sets. I've got the Banjo and Kazooie set, and I am happy. State of Decay 2, weirdly. Aren't we waiting for State of Decay 3?
I thought that game came out some time ago.
It did. It was a Xbox One game, I think.
Why are we still talking?
They're going to do a new version of State of Decay 2, the Juggernaut edition. Not Juggernaut, sadly. And
Juggernaut,
they will
then
include
get out.
the original Trumbull Valley map, which was part of the original State of Decay game. So I got excited
Means
going,
nothing to
oh,
me.
new State of Decay. No, it's not State of Decay 3, it's State of Decay 2, which everyone's done. They're dealt with it. We don't need this. Why are you doing this?
I thought, I will admit, when they were talking about parkour zombie game, and then they started talking about this one, I was like, why are they talking about parkour zombie game again? I was like, oh no, it's a different game entirely.
Different zombies.
Doesn't look as good.
Different
Zombies
rules.
snooze fest. Zombies bore me.
1st of September, Stray Blade, that's coming out in 2022. Crusader Kings 3, that's not been announced for a release date, but it's coming to the Xbox. Psychonauts 2, that is out now. We just got a launch trailer. Neverwinter, Jewel of the North, cinematic trailer, that is available now. The Gunk, I can't wait for the Gunk. The Gunk
Looked interesting.
Yep, that is going to be an Xbox Game Pass launch, I think.
And I think that they said that was made by the SteamWorld guys, yeah?
But it's not a SteamWorld type game, so I'm way more on board for this. I like those guys. I like their art style. I like the world they're building. I'm just not into the game. But
Image and Form Games, I think it is.
That's right. That's coming out in December at some time. I'm really looking forward to the Gunk. Forza Horizon 5, we have covered to death through the free coverage. So the only stuff they really showed off, they showed
Looks
off.
good, though.
It does look good. They showed off what the
Looks
new
fun.
cover car is going to be. Some of the new cars that are going to be involved in the game, like for the first time in video games, new cars added. A new wireless controller, which I thought looked ugly as sin.
It was horrible.
It looked ugly, but somehow still beautiful, I thought. But hey.
No.
Yeah.
No. It looked like a clown exploded on it.
It had those see-through yellow bits as well. Anyway, but yeah.
The top bar, the gold standard for controllers at the moment is the Death Stranding PlayStation 4 DualSense controller. DualShock.
Quite like the look of that, and we didn't speak about it before, but the Halo...
We're getting to that. Also, there was a bunch of gameplay for the game. Who cares? It's coming out in the holiday of 2021. You can pre-install it, a patch to notify that you're ready on your Xbox and your PC and stuff.
And you can drop your car from a helicopter.
Into a volcano.
Into a volcano.
Which looks cool. Before we jump to the last part of Gamescom, we are going to bid farewell to Rick because we have gone a little bit long. We're probably going to wrap up as soon as we can, but he's not actually seen this part of Gamescom, and he's got stuff to do. We've kept him
I've got
too
to go
long.
and play Fireteam Elite with Mark. I told him I'd be on in a minute.
Oh, that's what you've got to do. Thank you, mate.
You got an alien
Yeah, I've got an alien
eh?
date with my bestie. We've got to go and shoot those bugs. We're going bug hunting. It's going to be mad. Wicked.
Before you run off, Rick, where can people find you?
In bed most of the time. Or on YouTube. What's my YouTube channel?
Well
Game
done.
Cupboard, isn't it?
Perfect YouTubing there, Rick.
You
Well
got
done.
the Game
Remember
Cupboard
to like and subscribe.
Something that used to be Strange Play,
That's
but isn't
the
Strange
Game
Play.
Cupboard.
Oh, no,
I've got
it's
Game Cupboard.
Souls.
Souls.
Crush Souls.
I
There we
haven't
go. YouTube,
put a
Crush
video
Souls,
up
Game
for
Cupboard.
so long. I forgot what my YouTube channels are.
But you have lots of videos on there that people might want to watch.
I do. Some
There
of
you
them are
go.
quite good.
And
Some
there'll
of them
be
not
stuff
so much.
coming. You can watch stuff in the future.
They will.
There you go.
I'll make a video again at some point. I just need to stop being depressed. Can I go and shoot aliens now, please?
Yes, go shoot aliens. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Excellent. Bye.
Thanks for jumping on, buddy.
I miss you already.
That's all right,
Have
man.
fun.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
All right, so Gamescom opening night. This is the big one because there was a lot more. I mean, with these opening nights, they progressed since the launch. It's usually they go like world exclusive. Here's a mobile title. World exclusive. Here's something you don't care about. You know.
Here's an award for one of 3 games that no one's played this year.
They did a pre-show, and a lot of that was like, here's the latest Dark and Pictures anthology title. Here's Bus Simulator, world exclusive Bus Simulator. So they did, and I thought, oh, they're using all the world exclusives up on the pre-show because this is usually the stuff for the main show.
I kind of liked the attitude that came with, though. No, that pre-show was, quite good. I didn't know they were doing a pre-show, and they had a countdown to their pre-show. And at that point, I was a bit like, whoa.
If you watch the pre-show, the Game Awards, and the main show, the post-show, everything, all in all, it's 7 hours worth of live stream and it didn't break.
Yeah.
So well done to them. But yeah, pre-show was just a guy in a bedroom going like, yeah, we got some games to talk about. Here's a bus simulator, I guess. But yeah, the main show is what we're going to be focusing on. As Tim already spoke about Halo Infinite, there is going to be a new Xbox Elite wireless controller. And also there's going to be an Xbox Series X, which will be released on the 15th of November, the pair of them. Pre-orders are available right now. I think Kev was pre-ordering one till his wife told him off.
Well, until she pointed out that the consoles are behind the bloody TV, so you won't even see them. I think was the thing there. So there you go. Which kind of makes sense. Like, you can't maths your way around, I'm going to spend another 450 quid so no one can see something. Like,
but I need this. December the 8th for the release date. We didn't get any more campaign details. Everything was multiplayer related. I think the trailer kind of alluded to campaign. I'm not 100%.
I don't understand why they didn't just stick to having the release date announced on Opening Night Live and having the actual console and the other thing as something to talk about on their own show separately, because they could have then like kind of bookended it with the Xbox pad and the Horizon pad, and you know, kind of had some parity with that.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's just a payment thing. Like, they've been paid for a big thing and they got a big thing. It is weird, the amount of build-up that has gone into the multiplayer over the campaign, but that does seem to be, I mean, I don't know how kind of switched on you are with the social media stuff, but
Not very.
I spoke about it in the past before. With,
I'm not following Master Chief or Cortana or anything like that. That's what I mean.
No, I mean, like on Twitter, they do this thing where they go, "Hey, you seem to read a lot of video game tweets. We're going to put you in this video game list, and we'll just show you video game stuff all the time."
I don't do any of the list stuff. No.
For some reason, all the stuff I get is a specific, like a PlayStation enthusiast who's like, "Man, PlayStation's kicking the ass of the Xbox. Look at the sales figures." And then Xbox enthusiasts going, "Man, the PlayStation's crap. They make you pay for upgrades." And it's just back and forth between the two. But the weird thing is, the PlayStation guys, the Sony ponies, as they get called, they're the ones that are like, "Oh man, Xbox they don't focus on single player narrative titles like they should. That's what the PlayStation's all about." And then the Xbox side is like, "Yeah, well, the PlayStation, they just waste their time on these super expensive, stupid single player. We want fun. We want a game that lasts. We want multiplayer." It's like, okay, the two of you. Now I'm starting to see why EA and Activision started having these weird things where they started cancelling all their single player games and focusing on multiplayer. Or multiplayer has to be in every single player game. I'm starting to get it now.
Yeah,
there is an audience, and they have been split between the consoles by But anyway, that's why Halo is focusing more on multiplayer than single player for this pre-release stuff. But hey ho, game's out on December the 8th. Saints Row Reboot will be out on the 25th of February, which I really think they should have called Saints Row Reboot rather than just Saints Row, but each to their own.
Creating hell for people that like list video games, and I felt sorry for Giant Bomb as soon as they said it was just called Saints Row, like,
because they've got their wiki section and all their categorizing and stuff. Yeah, we're kind of building one of those behind the scenes, and I have to kind of go through and go, okay, and I'm putting in dates for certain titles now with like Resident Evils and things. So anyway, I love Saints Row.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that it looks like they're pulling back from the humor of going. It's more a humorous version of Grand Theft Auto, and that's what I like.
Yeah,
it's all Trevor. But I like that they're pulling back from
the superhero
big
stuff.
floppy dildo bats and all that kind of stuff. They kind of back themselves into a corner with the superpowers. And now they have to do a reboot to get out of it. And that's fine. So why not ground it a bit more? And that works as well.
I mean, you say ground it a bit more. There was literally a scene where someone was reversing a car on a rooftop and knocked a massive boulder thing or massive kind of thing off the top of the building to squash a car that had the gang member flying out of. It wasn't exactly like, you know, gritty streets of LA type of thing.
It's the chase scene from Batman Begins with punching the boulder, but all merged into one. I'm happy with that. But no, the big thing I love about the Saints Row games is the kind of versatility of creating your character and how much effort they put into the character creator. By the looks of this, you don't get that choice. You are playing as one main character, and it has to be this single
Boss
character.
lady person.
Yeah, which is a shame. I do like having a character that looks like me and speaks with the weirdest Cockney accent, but hey ho.
I mean, kind of been there and done that though. Like, I kind of like the idea of it being a more directed experience. I think that could actually be for its benefit.
That's what we've got Grand Theft Auto for.
No, but there's still I still think they can do some interesting things in that environment where they are taking a fun approach to it, but still having a not character design character and being able to concentrate on character development and a story centered around that a bit more, basically.
Marvel's Midnight Suns, cool trailer, terrible cover of Sandman, but it's so this might be up your street by the sounds of it, Tim. So. But this is a Marvel title made by the creators, well, not the creators, but the guys that worked on the modern day versions of XCOM.
Yes, although they did say that the game, and I can't remember exactly the way they phrased it, but it was something about like throwing out everything they'd done before. And so this apparently plays differently to XCOM. Exactly how differently? Like, I'm guessing there'll be a sort of turn-based element to it, but whether it will be a different style of combat, whereas it will borrow from kind of a Mario and Rabbids approach almost, maybe, by the sounds of it. Like, it could be a very different approach to combat, basically, even though it is with Firaxis, you're assuming it's going to be some sort of turn-based combat, but yeah, who knows? Anyway, I'm very interested, especially as it's a team of, a Marvel team that we're not used to seeing properties of. We've seen a billion X-Men and Avenger things. I don't think we've ever seen anything from the Midnight Sun.
Well, you say that. We've been very lacking in the X-Men department for a while because Disney decided, I assume a Disney decision, but they went, hey, look, if we don't have the movies of these certain characters, then we're not going to represent them in the video games, and for a while in the comics as well.
Yeah.
That has all changed. Obviously, the whole picking up the Fox license, that gets them the X-Men and stuff back. So it's cool to see Wolverine back in a mainline title. I hope to see him in Marvel's Avengers maybe down the road.
Wolverine fighting alongside Blade sounds cool as well, no?
That is cool as well. And that's it. There's a lot of focus on the supernatural characters. There's a new big bad, which is a completely new creation from Firaxis and Marvel.
The Hunter.
But all the characters... but all the characters kind of thrown in, with the exception of Iron Man, Wolverine, and Captain America. Everyone else seems to be more like mutant, supernatural, magical kind of stuff thrown out there. So it's cool to see that.
I swear there was some use of Punisher in that sort of universe and crossover as well at some point as well. I'm not sure that that's necessarily the case, but he's definitely kind of characters that he interacts with.
Is it annoying that you see the dark and gritty characters and you don't see Punisher?
Well, that's the thing. I'm hoping he's a good fit for this universe, even if it's something that possibly comes along as DLC later. Maybe, I'm hoping.
No, he's going to be an NPC you get to talk to.
Just because it's like 18 plus, they might get to throw him in.
He's going to be in charge of the store.
But then also there's the whole Frankenstein element to it as well, or... he has had a supernatural element to him before, where there was a Frankenstein-esque Punisher at one point, Frankenstein Castle or something.
Frankencastle.
But anyway, it like the actual comics of that were rubbish, but it would be at least shoehorns it into that universe. I'm happy. But anyway, yeah, I was definitely excited by this game. I didn't know it was coming. It's a property we haven't seen much of before. I'm in.
Gameplay trailer in like 6 days, I think. So we'll have to see what the gameplay's like, because everything pre-rendered. I kind of want to gloss over the pre-rendered stuff until we get some actual gameplay. But it's exciting to have new Marvel games that aren't just Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, the movie characters. Horizon Forbidden West, that is going to be coming out on the 18th of February. But to celebrate...
To wet your beak.
Because recently they gave away Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation 4 during lockdown. They have now added a 60 frames per second patch on the PlayStation 4, which I'm very excited for because I stopped playing for a reason, and now I'm going to start playing for a reason. And I've also, much like Dying Light, I've got a deadline of when I have to finish that game by.
Yeah, can I advise doing something beforehand to have an overview of the buttons or controls. Go and watch a video, go and do something. Because I picked up that game and having not played it for a long time, and I was like, oh, I do not remember how any of these things work at all.
I've got a plan. I'm going to, I've got the game reinstalled, so I'm going to install this patch, and then I'm going to start again, and I'm going to beeline through the game, no side missions. Get my way through it, get through the frozen the frozen wilds, whatever the DLC
frozen
is called.
what's-its.
Yep, the frozen what's-its.
See, I still haven't done the frozen wilds as well. I need to do that.
Get myself to Horizon Zero Dawn, Forbidden West. These titles are very confusing.
Yes.
Call of Duty Vanguard, big focus on the campaign, which I liked. The gunplay in Call of Duty is to a level that is far superior than my own ability, so I don't get into the Call of Duty games. However, every time I look at one of these kinds of trailers, I'm always impressed in the way they recreate their surroundings into such a way.
Coleman, don't you just love World War II, though? Don't you just love the fact it was known for epic battles?
Mate, I grew up in gospel.
Epic.
All they teach you in school are World War II. There's World War II everywhere. They're like, hey, we haven't got any history, but World War II, that's all we got. It stopped at that thing.
When dealing with actual historical events, you need to possibly delicately handle and possibly reference them in a respectful manner when you're killing lots of people. Anyway.
Oh yeah. That's the thing. Like, what I hate is when they're on stage and they go, "Oh yeah, so we've spoken to actual survivors from World War II, and we try to make this the most realistic experience yet." And then when you watch the pre-cut trailer, there's a guy on a tank like standing up, shooting at a plane, and it doesn't work. Like, work out what you want to do. By the way, zombies. Work out what you want to do. Do you want a realistic, gritty thing, or do you want the fantastical thing? So the thing I'm most impressed with is the look of the game, and I've got these different Call of Duty games I've either got through PlayStation Plus or the PlayStation freebies or ones we've been sent for the press stuff and even a competition win back in the day. I've got a few Call of Duty games that I just don't play, and I keep thinking when I look at them, man, they look really good. I should probably play some of these games. I could not give a stuff about the multiplayer, just the single player. And this one has a single player, and it's got Laura Bailey in it, and she's very talented. So there you go.
I mean, she's good.
Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, they went, hey, you remember that spring 2021 date that we didn't get to do and we had to push it back? We're going to get you a release date now, and that release date is spring 2022. That's not a release date. That's a release window, damn it. I'm not having this.
I think I may have played my final Lego game. I'm not the greatest target audience without children hanging around that want to play it and stuff, so yeah.
I haven't enjoyed a Lego game since Lego Avengers, and I'm talking about
no one enjoys a Lego game, Cole. They just enjoy them.
It was called Lego Marvel Superheroes, sorry, not Lego Avengers. That was the one where I fell off, and I hadn't played a bunch in between. But anyway, and I'm not into Lego games, but they did make a sequel to that game, and every now and then it pops up and it's like £10. Ooh, maybe I will play this game.
Ooh, Lego
just
Batman.
This one. And then I'm thinking, I don't like the Lego Batman games. I don't think they're very good. And I love Batman, so it's got to be saying something. They're just not very entertaining. But the story of Lego Marvel Superheroes I really enjoyed. I thought it was very humorous. So maybe I'll just get the PC version and see if anyone's modded, just like, here's all the unlocks done, and then you don't have to worry about it. Just play through the story.
What if they took the story of 9 Star Wars films and put it into one game for you, Coleman? Would you be on board then?
Well, for contractual obligations, I will say that sounds amazing. And let's talk no more about it.
Yeah, I don't know what they could do with this. Like the thing for me is the only difference between the games that they've made before and this, from what I could see, gameplays probably has been mixed up and they probably have enhanced things. But for me, the only difference was the fact that they now had talking cutscenes. And I don't care enough about that because I don't think that is a good thing for them anyway. I think they were better off without it.
That was the worst thing they did with the Lego game. I mean, well, because the Lego games, they were kind of that Mr. Bean mode where no one spoke. They all just kind of made noises and it was Marcel type acting. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and it must have made it harder, but it made it better.
But then they added voice acting, but they started with Lego Marvel Superheroes, I think. But what they did was they wrote a brand new story, and that worked.
Okay.
Then at some point, they went, okay, we're just going to recreate like the other games, but we can't add voice acting, so we're just going to take clips from the movies.
Yeah,
and that's when I fell off. It didn't work at all.
No.
So yeah,
it's
I don't know.
Odd mix of the four.
But this one, rather than just take the clips from the movies, which they've done with the last, they did the Force Awakens game.
Yeah.
I think they used clips from the movie and voice acting added from the act, like John Boyega and Daisy Ridley did voiceovers and stuff for the game. This time, I think they've got sound-alikes and are redoing the entire lot of games that way. So I don't know. It could be good. It could be good. Just not for me.
Speaking of things that are definitely not for me.
Definitely not for Tim, but for me. Death Stranding's director's cut, September 24th. I'm all in on that. It's actually convinced me to go. I'm going to uninstall my PS4 copy and just wait for this because I want the improvements. I'm good. This is good for me.
This made the game look worse to me from everything I saw
really?
in this thing. It was like, how would you like a motorbike that looks really bad, sounds really bad, and you can do really crap tricks on in midair for some reason?
It's a motorbike that looks like a backwards tricycle.
Yeah, and then also,
I don't like the motorbike.
What happens if you just got bored with the entire game and decide to sit on a pair of legs?
Yeah.
What?
It's kind of, well, I got to admit, as much as I love Red Dead Redemption 2, I think the majority of that game is me putting you can put the horse in kind of like an autopilot mode and just do other stuff. Just keep hitting the sprint button every now and then while you're looking at emails on your phone. So that's how I think I spent most of that game.
Okay.
So I can see myself doing that. The biggest change, though, Tim, the biggest change I noticed from that trailer, they seem to, for the director's cut, there's no Monster Energy. They've replaced it with generic can.
Did they lose the license, or just worried about the perpetuity of the license, possibly?
Maybe Norman Reedus was like, man, I don't want to be drinking that stuff. It looks like you're going to get a heart attack.
I am cutting this from the director's cut.
Which I don't want to be called a director's cut.
No.
But do it anyway, because that's PlayStation's branding at the minute for selling old games.
Yes.
Far Cry 6 still looks good. It's actually made me go, I'm going to reinstall Far Cry 5 and 3 and play them on the PS5, I think. October 7th, that's coming out. Jet the Far Shore. We spoke enough about that on the previous time we were talking about this, which I think was another Jeff Keighley production thing.
Yes.
October 5th. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. I'm still excited for that. That still has no solid release date, but it's coming out on the 2022 next year. But they have announced that a new character will be added. April O'Neil will be a playable character, which is cool.
Yep.
But at the same time, I'm looking at her going, when did she learn ninjutsu?
She's got a mic drop move, though, that was quite cool. Quite like that. That is quite a good move.
Yeah.
The more exciting thing for me, when they said it was April O'Neil, I was like, there's other people you could have put in an April O'Neil. But that made me think, oh, you probably have done the same thing you've done in Streets of Rage 4, and that is, after you play through the game, you unlock more and more characters. So I'm assuming we're going to see Casey at some point.
Casey Jones is coming. You know it.
And I assume that there'll be possible others to follow, maybe Splinter, maybe a few others as well. So that actually made me go, actually, April looks a bit cooler than I thought I did. I didn't know I was going to get April, and that probably means we're going to get the people I was assuming we're hopefully still going to get down the line. And also I could see them doing like alternate versions of the actual Turtles and stuff as well, possibly. So yeah, that could be quite
that'd be cool. We're going to get Irma. We're going to get Vern. We're going to get Ratcatcher. No, Ratmaster. What was he? He was a rat guy. Lived in the sewer.
Splinter.
No, he like he controlled Splinter at one point. They're like, what the hell was going on with Splinter? And it was a guy who
controlled rats.
He was like a Pied Piper type.
Like
character.
Ratcatcher, but not Ratcatcher because that's DC.
It might have been Ratcatcher. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, Batman and Turtles have done stuff together, so you know.
We're talking Baxter Stockman. We're talking that weird rabbit samurai thing.
Good.
New World, that's Amazon's MMO thing. Open beta will be available 7th, the 9th to the 12th, and then swiftly followed by the release on the 28th.
Just can't care about that game.
I was going to check it out, but there was a thing about certain graphics cards getting fried trying to play this beta, so I pulled out. But I will try that once I know it's all safe. Riders Republic, we spoke about that previously, but the release date, which we didn't mention, is going to be the 28th of October, unless they put it back even more. Sifu release date, February 22nd.
Sifu, I am so looking forward to. I don't think this trailer showed it off as well as previous trailers have possibly done.
No.
But I'm still really looking forward to that game. I'm glad it's now got a release date because it did get pushed back to 2022, but yeah.
We got a release date previously, I believe. This trailer was more to go, hey, if you want this on Epic Games Store, you can pre-order it right now.
Okay.
I checked, not PlayStation. But it's coming to PlayStation, and I'm looking forward to this. Cult of the Lamb, new game announcement from Devolver, looks great.
That looked really fun, building up your cult and then using them and culling the weak from them and then going and off and using those people to go and cause mayhem and stuff. Yeah. That looked adorable and scary at the same time.
We've got Splitgate, which has kind of been doing the rounds at the moment. It's kind of a mixture of Halo multiplayer with Portal, which sounds migraine-inducing but amazing at the same time. They've just announced that Season 0 has launched. So I think this is free to play for everyone. I don't know if they're planning to... Because I think what happened is the game took off while it was in its beta stage, and the idea was to charge for the game when it comes out. But because of the success of the game while it was free to play, they've gone, okay, we're going to push back the release date and keep it free for everyone at the moment. I don't know if the plan is when they hit Season 1 to start charging people.
Actually sell something at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a really neat idea. People are playing it and saying it's fun. It's just, I mean, I downloaded Quake this week and then I was like, can I be bothered to play an arena shoot with other people online? Probably not.
Super Monkey Ball Mania, October the 5th. There is going to be a Persona 5 Morgana's DLC that adds to one of the Yakuza guys in Sonic and Tails.
I was just going to say that they teased the hell out of who was coming in this thing. And I was like, who is it? Who's bigger than Sonic? They're making it out like someone massive. And then it was someone I'd never heard of before in my life. I've played a bit of Persona, but not enough to obviously encounter this character. And I don't or remember this character. But they made the announcement that I care about for this game that may make me buy this game at some point.
What?
I may not. I may wait for it to be free. But
Jeff Keighley's going to be in a ball.
No, there's 12 mini games. And one of them is the one that I care about. There's other mini games that are quite fun, but there's one game that I could literally play all night if we sat around with a room full of people and took it in turns like I did back in the day, which is the whole thing where you're rolling the ball down a ramp and then you open out the two sides of the ball to fly and then you got to land on a target.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Like, really simple, stupid fun. As I said, I could literally, if we played one of our drinking game night type things where instead of fighting games, I could happily play this game all night. That's like just that one mini game for the whole evening, basically.
Jurassic World Evolution 2. So the Summer Games Fest, Evolution 2, they announced this with Jeff Goldblum. No Jeff Goldblum, sadly, this time. Finally has a release date, which is November the 9th. Very quick, round the corner. Again, needs to play some Jurassic World Evolution to get ready for the sequel because I like the idea of the game.
The first one was really good. I hope they kind of perfect the formula a little bit more so it's a bit more seamless between jumping between in-game, like in the park stuff when you're actually like in a Jeep going around shooting the dinosaurs and stuff and then transitioning from that to the park building stuff. Hope there's a little bit smoother between that, and I think that could, it's a formula that could work really well with a little bit of refinement, I think.
Doki V, it's Pokemon, but it's from Korea.
That's the one that people were going a bit mad about. It's not just Pokemon, it looked a bit Jet Set Radio, people were saying.
It's got lots of stuff
lots
thrown
of different
in.
Locomotion things, and it looked a bit Monster Hunter-y.
It's weird because whenever I hear Korean game developer from Korea, I always think it's going to be some weird copyright laden property. But this one, as soon as Jeff Keighley goes from a Korean studio inspired by a monster hunting type game, I was like, okay, so it's going to be one of those. And there's enough difference between Pokemon to this to make me go, that's interesting. Not for me, but interesting the same. Park Beyond, which is the new version of Theme Park, essentially. It's a park builder. But they seem to put more onus on story, and it seems more Bullfrog era than the way that the park simulators have gone into like Park Tycoon and Roller Coaster Planet and all that kind of stuff.
There's a board game called Funfair, and I'd much prefer to see a park builder type thing go in that sort of direction where it's a little bit sinister. There's some park building, and you can build stuff up and build the themes of things. but there's also a bit of take that between you and other players, so you can play multiplayer as well. Like you'd all have your different theme parks interacting with each other a bit as well. Anyway,
Valheim, which is out at the moment, you can pick it up. I didn't play it, but I've got it. There's a new update, Half and Home update, which will be available on the 16th of September. Looks cool. Core, which is a game maker game, a bit like Dreams, but PC.
I'm not sure I actually understand. Is that the one I didn't understand what it was? Was that the Dead Mouse one?
Yes. So Core is it's a game builder platform. And within that game is thousands and thousands of other games that creators have made.
Have they heard of Dreams?
And a new game. Well, this is Dreams before Dreams.
Right.
I think Dreams' announcement to game release took so long that this got built. But there is a new title called Oberhasli.
Good.
Oberhasli, I think that is how you pronounce it. And this is Dead Mouse's weird game that is a combination of different games mixed with like a virtual DJ set. So if you're into Dead Mouse, then, or as he said on the show, Dead Mouth 5 is the correct pronunciation of his name, which I hadn't heard before, but there you go. Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt, which isn't Vampire the Masquerade. This is the weird side spin-off multiplayer type title. That's going into early access from the 7th of September. A new football game is going to be throwing its hat into the ring. This is UFL. That was announced during the show. We only see pre-render once again, an announcement from a very friendly-looking man. Tim, new football game.
I didn't really understand, apart from this being free to play and apparently fair to play, which I don't know what that means, mate. You're going to have to explain it a bit more.
I think it's going to be kind of what they're doing with the Pro Evo stuff, where it's a free to download title and then you pick up like your teams and stuff that you want to on top of that, I'm assuming, but no pay to win mechanics.
Yeah, and I don't know whether the knowledge of this UFL thing possibly existing changed the way that eFootball, as it's now known, or Pro Evolution people, doing stuff before. I don't know if that changed their business plan and strategy, and whether that's had an influence, or whether this just happens to come up in the year where they're doing that as well, and both of these things are going to cannibalize each other and possibly harm each other because they're both going with a similar business model up against something that is already a massive established thing. Perhaps that's the only way you can make it in the football world these days. I'd rather have more interesting football games than this, but I don't see what this is doing to differentiate itself. It seemed to be, like, as I said, there wasn't much details with it.
Yeah, it's literally just a title announcement.
Yeah, so we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not jumping up and down with the excitement at the moment anyway.
Outlast Trials, it's a prequel to Outlast, but looks more multiplayer-y, set in the Cold War, kind of arena-y, shooter-y, but survival. I don't know. It's Outlast. We just like that they're called Red Barrels.
Yeah, we like them because they have a good studio name. And I've met them and they're nice people.
I mean, if they want to change their name so we can just keep ours and people don't tweet us the wrong thing. Synced Off Planet, that it was announced it's coming out some point next year. And also Century Age of Ashes is coming to the Xbox some point this year. That is everything we have from Gamescom. I nearly said Games Pass. It's kind of, Xbox have done their job. It is wrapped up in my head. We won't do too much in the outro because we've got to go because we've gone too far over.
It's gone way too long because we had a lot to talk about.
Tim, how can people get involved in Geek Out for Gosh?
Search out Geek Out for Gosh. You can raise money by streaming or help out people that are by sponsoring them. If you raise over £250, you can get an exclusive Insert Coin t-shirt and badge. Check out more details. I said badge. I keep on saying badge when I mean pin. But anyway, check out more details on Geek Out for Gosh on Twitter. That's the number 4. Or check out Gosh's own website, gosh.org, and look out for Geek Out for Gosh.
No questions this week because I didn't put any out because I knew it was going to be a busy show. Not this busy, but busy. If you want to get in contact with the show, give us any questions, feedback, if you want to suggest some games for us to play, if you want to let us know what your favorite part of Gamescom is or really looking forward to, you can let us know on the comment section of Big Red Barrel. Right there, we also have a link to our Discord, which you can also find in the description of this here podcast you're listening to on your podcast player. It's there at the bottom. Scroll down. It's there in the description. Look at it. There is a link there. Also, you can find links to our Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. Those are facebook.com/BigRedBarrel, twitter.com/BigRedBarrel, or YouTube Big Red Barrel TV.
Basically, as Coleman said, you are our QA department. If we've got anything wrong, you can tell us. Tell us where the bugs are, and we won't fix them.
Reviews, if you could review the show on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Stitcher, or Castbox. Those are the ones that we see. They will let us know that you left us a review, and we'll read it out on the show and all that kind of stuff. But it helps us. It goes up in the rankings. It makes us look good. If you want something bad to say about it, if you want to say something terrible about it, if you want to say, hey, this episode's gone way too long and I hate your editing style, you can do so. Just leave a 5-star.
Well, we've got the two sides of it. Last week and this week,
results.
we did a really short, punchy show last week, which was actually quite good.
Yeah,
in some ways, possibly. And then we did a long, in-depth show this week.
It was so quick.
Which one do people prefer? Quick and punchy, long and meaty?
I'll put it this way: that show went out 3 or 4 hours after you recorded it.
Yeah, Coleman was happy with that.
It was a good show. I really enjoyed it.
Coleman will remember this.
That is it for this week's episode of BRB UK. Thank you very much to Rick, who had to run off early, sadly. Or not early.
Early.
That's our fault. That's our fault. Thank you to him. He ran away. Hopefully Dan is back next week. That next week being episode 456. But until we get to that great number, it's a big number. It's getting close to 500, the one where we inevitably all quit the podcast and kill each other. I have been Coleman.
I might have been Tim.
And until next time, dear listeners, a goodbye.
Your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.
Basically, you've had a falling out with your dad, you're being a teenager. You're like, oh, Dad, oh, it's unfair.
But he's also
you're
very
trying
much
to sneak out the bedroom window.
Yeah, and he's very much of the opinion of, well, you can go and try and